This video is sponsored by Loot Studios. Hello and welcome to Broadsword Wargaming. My name is Oliver.
And my name is Ciara, and today we're looking at Malediction, Loot Studios' brand new CRTPP?
MCG.
No. Yeah? Miniature card game. MCG. Take it away.
Yes, Loot Studios sent over 2 of the 4 starter sets for Malediction, their brand new hybrid card and miniatures wargame, giving you the best of both worlds. And there are 4 factions to choose from.
The Order of the Shattered Throne, clad in both iron and faith. The scheming mages of the Conclave of Spheres. The Legion of the Fallen, hedonistic masters of the afterdeath. And the Primal Blood, ruthless and free.
Each box includes everything you need to start playing: card decks, dice, measuring tools, pop-out pieces and flat card terrain for a quick setup. Now the quality is excellent, the cards are sturdy, the pieces slot into movement tray bases very easily, and the overall box and artwork is just lovely. Do keep in mind that this is a pre-production copy, so the final version you may get may have some changes. One of the coolest parts for me is Loot Studios is well known for their 3D miniatures, and every card piece has a 3D printable counterpart. It's like playing Magic the Gathering, but instead of just cards, you get actual models on the battlefield with deeper mechanics and an actual tabletop game. I've printed models for 2 of the factions plus some terrain, and we'll showcase those later in the video for you. If you like what you're seeing, go and check out Malediction right now over at GameFound. You only have a few days left to grab early access, special pricing and exclusive goodies. Hit the link in the description below. Now each of these boxes contains everything that one player would need to play the game. I have the Conclave of Spheres. You're laughing. Have I gone mental today?
No, I don't know.
Oh, have you lost the plot?
Yeah, I was just thinking about that chocolate over there.
Nice. A little side quest there. So what's your box you had there then?
Mine's the Order of the Shattered Throne, which are like light-looking...
Paladin-y, kind of?
Yeah, that's the one, humans.
And I've got the wizards, basically, but there are 2 other factions, right?
What?
There are 2 other factions
Yes.
as well. Are you alright today?
There's 2 other factions, a primal type one and an undead one as well.
Yeah.
And I was having a look at the overview. I think what it is Malediction is like the place and you're looking for relics. And that's why your main guys are called Seekers.
They're seeking relics. What's your seeker called?
Sigrith and just something.
Androvos.
Yes.
Very good. Mine is Polynor, the Prime Archivist. There's a bit of lore in this. It was, all the lore in the world was done by Tracy Hickman as well, who's quite a well-known author and world builder. And my character got like...
my God, being the first life.
That's Tracy Chapman. my character got exiled and like lobbed his apprentice under the bus really, and then stole all the power gloves.
Power gloves?
The power gloves. So in these boxes you have everything you need to play with the cardboard cutouts. If you didn't have access to a 3D printer, you could just play the game like this, right?
This is how I would play.
Why is that?
Because I don't know how to use a 3D printer.
But fortunately, I do. So Loot Studios have a really good reputation for 3D printing miniatures, so I'm quite excited to see what they look like. I have printed one of everything we would need to play using these starter decks, and that's what we're going to do later on in this video. So first up, we're going to show you the miniatures in more detail, paint up our Seekers, then have a chat, and then come back and play the game, and then have a chat again and let you know what we thought about it.
I'm excited.
Me too. Let's get on with it. Alright, here are some of the models for the 2 factions we're playing, given a quick zenithal highlight to make the details pop a little more for you. The designs are fantastic, and each faction has a very distinct feel. These could certainly be used for other game systems too, if you wished. I've also printed these husks, which act as the game's objective markers, sort of. Now Ciara is painting Sigrith over on her Twitch channel, so we'll check back in on her in a bit. But meanwhile, I'll be painting Polynor, so let's see how these models handle some paint. First, a zenithal highlight to map out light placement. I might incorporate the spray colours, the kind of greys, into the colour scheme, but we'll see how this looks once everything is together. The speed paint flows well into the sculpt, and one thing I like about this model is how clearly defined each part is. This means you don't have to just make things up. The base is also pretty cool. It matches the terrain and has this really interesting wizardry machine theme. I kept the models separate from the base to reach the tricky spots, and after just a few colours, here's where we are. Now I'll keep at this while we check in with Ciara.
I poured milk in. I was like, people are going to think this is fake. I poured milk into my water pot because I was getting ready to do some painting yesterday. and I was making a pre-paint cup of coffee. So I took my water pot over to the sink and I filled it, and then I went to the kettle to make my coffee, and then I poured my milk into it.
All right, well, I mean, at least some painting is happening, I think, over there. I spent a couple of hours on this guy, and honestly, it's been really enjoyable to paint something different for once. A few more highlights to go, but we're pretty much there. I avoided using an airbrush just to show what can be done with a model like this in reasonable time. There's plenty of detail here to keep even the most skilled painters busy, and I'd love to see what other people do with this model, because after just one evening, I'm pretty happy with the result. Definitely a testament to the design more than my painting skills, I think.
Hello, it's me. Now, I didn't actually have that much time to get this painted, so I decided to do a very quick colour scheme using just a few colours. I tried to follow the artwork that was on the card and see what I could get done with that. The mini has a good amount of detail to where it looks impressive, but isn't overly complicated, so it lends itself to that style of painting really, really well. Then I just used a bunch of pigment to bring it all together.
And with that, both of the faction seekers are complete. Now, let's take a quick look at the terrain before we finish up. This took about 50 hours of printing across 3 build plates, which is not bad at all, and there were no failed prints, which is always a bonus. A quick pass with a spray can, and these are kind of ready for the table. I decided to add a few details to the conclave terrain since it's a different material, but you could certainly go further if you wanted, although I'm happy to kind of call it done here. This terrain would suit most game systems, and the fact that each faction has more pieces than this, you could probably fill out 4 tables if you had each box. With that, we're done. Let's check back in and get ready to play a game.
Okay, so you printed all these. Did you use both types of printer?
Yes, for the terrain I used an FDM printer and I used a resin printer for the miniatures. And actually, I'm not someone who prints very much, but everything was pre-supported. I just stuck the files into Lychee, hit slice, and then hit print. I had no failures, and it took about 3 build plates on my Mars 5 Ultra, so it's not a big build plate, but about 3 to get everything done, and then I had to do 1 more base afterwards.
And what do you think about the quality of the resin miniatures?
Very good. I haven't printed stuff on Loot Studios before, but I have seen them online and I know they have a good reputation. One thing I tend to find with resin miniatures, I think they're the same, is sometimes they can be a little like overly complicated or something, overly detailed.
I hate that.
Yeah, it makes it too difficult to paint. Now, that's not a bad thing about these, but they don't feel like they have that over design about them.
I really like them. They're really nice.
Yeah, wasn't particularly difficult to paint either. There weren't no painting guides out there though, and I know you love a painting guide.
I know, the bases are so cool as well.
Yeah, mine's got like a big like moving metally wizardy thing, and you're in like a desert with a guy going like that.
I'm really, really impressed. And the terrain is amazing. You could use this for anything really. I'm sure you'll be popping this on a board at some point.
Oh yeah, I mean that's like Sisters of Battle, Age of Sigmar, right? Like old temple statues and stuff. And this is kind of like wizardy, high elfy as well. So, you know, it feels like you could use these things for other things as well. And these, again, were easy to print. I think it was 3 build plates on my Creality CR10 SE, and it didn't take that long either. What a load of boring numbers for you there. But
of course, it's just
that's the one. So what other miniatures did you like? I think I remember you really liked the one who had that like, what?
It's like an elf one, yeah. She's part of your group.
Yeah, she's one of mine.
Yeah, she's my favourite, I think.
Yeah, she has like a ball thing, and she's like, you know, summoning magic.
Elf ball.
Elf balls.
Yeah, no, I'm just really impressed with them. I think the bases are amazing. I'm not usually a fan of an overcomplicated base, but I will make an exception for these because I think the base really makes them.
Yeah, bash pigment in there, right?
Dusty pigment.
Dusty pigment.
Yeah. Yeah. What more can we say, really? Happy with all the minis, and no fails as a bonus for you as well.
Excellent. Let's jump into a game using the starter decks and the downloadable rulebook. The game includes a beginner-friendly introductory mission that makes getting started easy enough. And like any strategy game, you'll set up your battlefield, place objectives, and organise your play area. And don't worry, everything fits nicely on a standard dinner table. Now, our 2 seekers are ready to lead their forces into battle and start recovering relics. But how is Malediction played? Well, the game unfolds over a series of rounds, each divided into 4 phases. The refresh phase. This is where players gain echo, refresh their units, draw cards, and resolve any initiative bits. The deployment phase is where you deploy your units and items onto the battlefield and get them into position. The action phase is where players take turn activating their units, moving and attacking. This is where the strategy comes into play. And finally, the end phase. It's where players attempt to claim relics from nearby husks and check for victory conditions. If no one wins, the next round begins immediately, cycling back to the refresh range. Malediction revolves around two key resources, Echo and Mastery, as I mentioned a minute ago. Echo is the sensory power that fuels your ability to manipulate the Malediction's raw energy. In effect, it acts as your in-game currency, so managing it wisely is crucial. And Mastery represents how much control your Seeker has over the Malediction in any given area. Reaching this scenario's Mastery threshold is the key to victory. Think of it as victory points. Both of these will fluctuate throughout the game, so don't worry.
So you won the first turn. I went with just the one value because I hate going first. It was that, or I had a slightly higher value one I was going to use because I didn't really understand what the description meant. So I was like, I may as well just use that one because I'm never going to use it anyway.
Alongside those elements, each player has a customizable deck tailored to their chosen Seeker, allowing for a pretty wide variety of strategies and playstyles. The combat mechanics and unit activation rules add a little more depth, making tactical choices quite essential. Our final thoughts on the game is Malediction isn't too difficult to learn. If you've played Warhammer or Magic the Gathering, you'll likely pick it up quite quickly. Some cards do have a fair bit of text, so taking your time with the first few games will probably help you out. Now, both Ciara and I really enjoyed playing. I personally love games that blend board game, card game, and wargame mechanics, especially when they don't take hours to play. Malediction strikes a good balance. It's casual enough for a relaxed session in the living room, but it has plenty of potential for competitive play as well. Ciara, who I'm sure she wouldn't mind me saying, doesn't play or hasn't played as many games as I have, still managed to pick this up in one game session as well, so that is a testament to how easy or well written the rules seem to be. If this sounds like something you'd enjoy, be sure to check out the links in the description or pinned comments. It's always a challenge to get a new game off the ground, but Loot seem to have all the right pieces in the right places. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.